Hello everyone, welcome back. You must forgive me, I'm a bit sniffly at the moment. I think it must be hay fever, let's hope it's nothing more than that. It's been very bad this year, I don't know about you, hay fever's been very bad. But yes, we're going to continue looking at comprehension. I've scrolled through and I've decided we'll look at comprehension 4 because they're all testing the same skills ultimately. This one is an excerpt from The Life and Adventures of Robinson Crusoe, which is a classic in the English canon. Canon, not in the sense of weaponry. The English. Why is that so small? Why have you gone small? There you go. The English canon. In the sense of canon meaning a collection of work. A collection of important, historically significant works. When we talk about the English literature canon, we're talking about the classics. And The Life and Adventures of Robinson Crusoe is most definitely part of the English canon. It's a body of work, a collection of very, very well-respected work, the classics, as I say. Like other extracts included as part of the comprehension section in this, the Life-Changing Tuition English Workbook. This is a very old book. It's a very old book, hundreds of years old now. In fact, let me tell you exactly when this was released, published, I should say. Robinson Crusoe, there you go, first published 1719, so hundreds of years ago, over 300 years old. The language is going to be different. This is a general rule though. You're not always going to get comprehensions that are from these books that are, from a substantial time ago. But whether or not they are from a different time period, they're going to be of different content. They may be talking about topics that you don't recognise, things that you don't really have any knowledge about, any working knowledge about. Please, never be distracted or even more so intimidated by the content or the unfamiliar language or unfamiliar sentence structure or whatever it is that the comprehension presents you with. Never be intimidated. You can always work it out. The way that I'm going to tell you, you need to look at comprehension now. Think about this whenever you're doing that. You need to be detectives. You need to suss out all the clues and all the information you're given. Use the things that you recognise. The context. We've used this word before. The context surrounding difficult words. Right? So if you don't know what a word means and you can't recognise any sounds or smaller words within that word to guide you along the way, try and use the words and the images and the story around it that you can make sense of, that you can figure out, to help you define that key word or to understand exactly what's going on. You need to be a detective. You need to be able to use all the information that you do understand to help you get to the bottom of the stuff that you're not as sure of. The more you do this, the more you are able to detect things, the more you are able to analyse context properly. Excuse me. The better you will be at inferring, or the word I prefer here is deducing information, where you don't necessarily have the answers, but based on surrounding information you can start to add things up and you can go, oh, well, that says that and that says that, so I deduce that that must mean that. You're not entirely sure, you're not guaranteed of that answer, but you've used logic to get there, right? You're therefore likelier to get the correct answers at all. Okay, right, I'm happy I've explained that now. Let's actually read this together. Okay, I'll stop along the way and we'll define, how many words have I do? I think we need to define 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe about 6 or 7. Let's just read it for now. So, Life and Adventures of Robinson Crusoe. But never was a fight managed so hardily, and in such a surprising manner as that which followed between Friday and the bear, which gave us all, though at first we were surprised and afraid for him, the greatest diversion imaginable. Now, stop there. Diversion. Here we go. Where is it? I've lost it. There it is. Diversion. You see that? The greatest diversion. Now, what's a diversion? You've probably heard of diversion before when you're on a bus, and it says going on a diversion. So there's one meaning to diversion. It's when something goes in a different way from what it was originally intended, its original course. In the sense of travel, that's having to go on a different course, a different route, because of roadworks or something else. In a grander sense of things, it's if you divert something, it goes a different way than it was originally meant to. But in this context, that's not what we're talking about. Remember, use context. It gave us, the greatest diversion imaginable. So, there's a bear involved, someone's interacting with a bear. That doesn't sound like it might send us off in a different direction. It sounds like maybe a distraction, or a bit of entertainment, maybe. Diversion, traditionally, another meaning, is something entertaining. Like, a diversion is something you might do in your free time. A diversion. It diverts you perhaps away from other things, work, things that are a bit more boring, a bit more mundane, a bit more annoying. Diversion is an entertaining use of free time. So that's what diversion means here. So something's happening with a bear that is quite entertaining. So, as a bear is a heavy, clumsy creature and does not gallop as the wolf does, like a horse, gallop, right? Who is swift and light, so he has two particular qualities, which generally are the rule of his actions. First, as to men, who are not his proper prey, he does not usually attempt them, except they first attack him, unless he be excessively, very hungry, which is probable might now be the case, the ground being covered with snow. Right, what do we deduce there? We read that sentence. So what's the author saying here? So, he does not usually attempt them. If you don't understand it, use the context. Don't just force your way through the text, right? Take the time to properly get what you're saying. Otherwise, after that first read, what information have you got? You're just going to have to keep rereading it and rereading it and reading it. Remember, we've said this before. We want active and attentive readers. Get your mind in the text. Take the time to go back over. Make sure you understand everything to the best of your ability. So, what is he saying in this bit? So, first, it's to men who are not his proper prey. His proper prey is the bear. His proper prey. The bear's proper prey. Humans are not the bear's normal prey, right? He doesn't normally go for them, except when humans attack the bear first. Or, if the bear's very hungry, which he might be, because there's snow everywhere, so his normal prey isn't about. It might be hibernating, like animals do in the winter, right? You see how we can try and, as we go, translate this into modern English to help us understand it. If you can do that as you read texts that are written like this in older forms of English, slightly more difficult to decipher, to figure out, if you are able to translate it like that, you're going to have finished reading the text, understanding a lot more of what's going on, rather than someone who's just pushed their way through really stubbornly, without taking the time to properly understand it first. So we're here. If you do not meddle with him, meddle. To meddle. I did write that down, didn't I? Yes, I did. To meddle with someone is to interfere. To interfere with someone. To meddle is to interfere. So, let's continue. Please do write these down as I define them as well. Add them to your own collection of vocabulary. If you do not meddle with him, he will not meddle with you. If you don't interfere with him, he won't interfere with you. But then you must take care to be very civil to him and give him the road, for he is a very nice gentleman. He will not go a step out of his way for a prince. Nay, if you are really afraid, your best way is to look another way and keep going on. For sometimes if you stop and stand still and look steadfastly at him, steadfastly, without change, steadfast, you're committed, steadfastly at him, he takes it for an affront. If you affront someone, if you cause an affront is an act that leads to offence. You offend someone, right? Where are we? He takes it as an affront. But if you throw or toss anything at him, though it were but a bit of stick as big as your finger, he thinks himself abused, and sets all other business aside to pursue his revenge, and will have satisfaction in point of honour. That is his first quality. The next is, If he be once affronted, once offended, he will never leave you, night or day, till he has his revenge, but follows at a good round rate till he overtakes you, until he gets his revenge. So what we've said there is, bears don't have humans as their normal prey, but they will attack a human if the human, abuses them, affronts them, or if he's very hungry, if the bear's very hungry. The second thing is, if the bear does have reason to be frustrated with you, it will not give up until it has his revenge. Right? My man Friday. Now, see, when we're looking at deduction, figuring things out, I'm going to sneeze, excuse me. When we're looking at deduction, pardon me, I didn't want to sneeze down the microphone, that would have been very pleasant for you. We're looking at deduction, we're looking at understanding the text, we're looking at being detectives. Have we figured out yet that Friday is not in reference to a day of the week, but in fact a character in this story? My man, Friday. Yeah? Never take anything for granted. If you're going to be a good detective, if you're going to be good at deduction, at inferring, at understanding text, anything can be possible. Ignore all your knowledge of the outside world. Don't try and bring in stuff you think you know and put it onto the text. All that you know is in that comprehension. Don't take anything for granted. Use what's in the comprehension. Don't use anything else. Good. My man Friday had delivered our guide, and then when we came up to him, he was helping him off his horse, for the man was both hurt and frightened. When on a sudden we espied. Now, this is a very good example of something I talk about a lot. Espied. What sounds, what other words can you hear in that one? Espied. Take off the E. Spied. I've highlighted all of it, but take off the E at the start, and you get spied. Spied. I spied. To spy something is to see something, to catch sight of something. Espied. Sudden we saw. We caught sight of. We espied the bear come out of the wood, and a monstrous one it was, the biggest by far that ever I saw. We were all a little surprised when we saw him, but when Friday saw him, it was easy to see joy and courage in the fellow's countenance. Use the context. It was easy to see joy and courage. Where might you see joy and courage in a person? Where is it obvious to see joy and courage? Maybe their body, even more obvious, their face. Their facial expression. That's how we use context to define words. We think, so he can see joy and courage. Where might you see joy and courage? What might a countenance be? Where might you see the joy? His facial expression. Oh, says Friday 3 times, pointing at him. Oh, master, you give me to leave, me shaky to hand with him, me makey you good laugh. I was surprised to see the fellow so well pleased. You fool, says I, he will eat you up. Eaty me up, says Friday, twice over again. Me eaty him up, me makey you good laugh. You all stay here, me show you good laugh. So down he sits and gets off his boots in a moment, and puts on a pair of pumps, as we call the flat shoes they wear, and which he had in his pocket, gives my other servant his horse, and with his gun away he flew, swift like the wind. The bear was walking softly on, and offered to meddle, to interfere, with nobody, not interested in anyone else, minding his own business, till Friday, coming pretty near, calls to him, as if the bear could understand him. Hark ye, says Friday, me speaky with you. We followed at a distance, for now being down on the Gascony side of the mountains, we were entered a vast forest, where the country was plain and pretty open, though it had many trees in it, scattered here and there. Friday, who had, as we say, the heels of the bear, came up with him quickly, and took up a great stone, and threw it at him, and hit him just on the head, but did him no more harm than if he had thrown it against a wall. But it answered Friday's end, for the rogue was so void of fear that he did it purely to make the bear follow him, and show us some laugh, as he called it. As soon as the bear felt the blow, and saw him, he turns about and comes after him, taking very long strides, and shuffling on at a strange rate, so as would have put a horse to a middling gallop. Away runs Friday, and takes his course as if he ran towards us for help. Can we see this? Are we imagining it as a film in our minds? He's thrown a stone at the bear's gone, "Oh, I was minding my own business, what do you want?" And he's chasing after this man, Friday, who is, I guess, maybe a guide in this jungle, it seems, this forest, a guide for the author. Away runs Friday, and takes his course as if he ran towards us for help. So we all resolve to fire at once upon the bear, shoot at the bear, because the bear's running towards the author now, and deliver my man, save Friday. though I was angry at him for bringing the bear back upon us when he was going about his own business another way. And especially I was angry that he had turned the bear upon us and then ran away, and I called out, "You dog, is this your making us laugh? Come away and take your horse that we may shoot the creature." He heard me and cried out, "No shoot, no shoot, stand still and you get much laugh." Doesn't want him to shoot him. Friday, he's leading the bear to the author, and the author's scared, but Friday's saying, "Don't shoot him, this is part of my plan." And as the nimble creature ran 2 feet. We're talking about running. Use the context. It's going to be about movement. Good. It's about movement. We know that nimble is something that's quick or agile or, very delicate, very precise, accurate with its movements. A very good mover. And as the nimble creature ran 2 feet for the bear's one, he turned on a sudden on one side of us, and seeing a great oak tree fit his purpose, he beckoned to us to follow. Friday, saying, "Come to this tree, come to this tree." And doubling his pace, he got nimbly, with agility, up the tree, laying his gun down upon the ground at about 5 or 6 yards from the bottom of the tree. The bear soon came to the tree, and we followed at a distance. The first thing he did, he stopped at the gun, smelt at it, but let it lie. And up he scrambles into the tree, climbing like a cat, though so monstrous heavy. I was amazed at the folly, something's going on. It's to do with an event, a folly. I was amazed at the folly, what I see. It's a foolish act. A folly is a foolish act. I was amazed at the folly, as I thought it, of my man, and could not for my life see anything to laugh at, till seeing the bear get up the tree, we all rode near to him. So, do we understand what's happened there? Friday has provoked a bear. He's thrown a stone at it. The bear's got annoyed. It was minding its own business. It's chased Friday. Friday has run back towards the author and all of his friends, and they've gone, why have you brought the bear over here? Get out the way so we can shoot it. And he goes, no, this is part of my plan. And he goes, look at that oak tree, come with me. And he runs to the oak tree, and he leads the bear to the oak tree. And the bear, they hide behind, they hide, and the bear can only see the gun and go, well, where is he? I was just chasing him, where's he gone? And he thinks he must have gone up the tree. So the bear then starts climbing the tree, this huge, monstrous bear. And that's the laugh, that's the folly, the foolish act. So, we've translated it into modern English. We've defined the words that we may not have known beforehand with the help of context and our own powers of deduction. So, let's have a look at these questions. Right, I'm not going to scroll to the answers at the end because I've got all the answers here. I'm just going to talk you question through question very, very briefly. So if you want to have a go at these questions before I even start explaining them, pause them. I'll do these first 4, then scroll down to the next page. So pause now if you want to have a go. Otherwise, I'm going to start talking about them. So, your first question. According to the passage, why do bears generally not attack humans? Well, you remember this. We spoke about it. It spoke about the 2 things about a bear. It says that... what did it say? Let's go back. Let's have a look. So, right at the top. Heavy, clumsy creature. Right, 2 particular qualities. Do you remember this? So, first, as to men who are not his proper prey. So a bear doesn't attack us because bears do not typically view humans as prey. That seems pretty straightforward, doesn't it? So the answer there should be B. Right, you should be, as you're reading through, this is what I'm saying, the key to just having that quick ability to go, oh, I remember what the text said. 2 things. 1, forget everything you know about bears. The only stuff that you should know from bears to answer these questions is in the comprehension. Rely on the comprehension. Use the comprehension. Ignore everything else. The second thing is being able to understand what the comprehension is saying. Don't just read it and move on. Make sure you get it. Otherwise, you're really going to struggle to recollect information that quickly. You're going to have to keep going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So, question 2. According to the opening paragraph, what is the first quality of the bear? Well, first paragraph, here we go. This is the first paragraph. So, 2 particular qualities. First, men aren't his proper prey unless they attempt to attack the bear or the bear's very hungry. So if you don't interfere with the bear will not interfere with you. But that you must be very careful to be civil, to be kind. Because the bear is a nice gentleman. He will not go out of his way if to a prince. If we are like a prince, if we are, kind and caring and we stand upright and we mind our own business, then the bear will do the same. Okay? If you're really afraid, your best way is to look another way and keep going on. Don't just stare at the bear. Remember that. We looked at steadfastly. Don't stare at the bear, because the bear will think, why are you looking at me? I'm offended, and it will charge you. And don't throw anything at the bear either, because he'll take that as you want to fight. So all of that is the first thing. Let's have a look at our options. What is the first quality of the bear? I don't remember it talking about movement. Well, B looks the most likely again, doesn't it? He avoids conflicts with humans unless provoked. That's what that whole thing is saying. He doesn't want to fight unless you give him a reason to. Whether that's throwing a stick, looking at him, not being kind, not respecting his space. If you don't do any of those things, he won't want to fight you. So there's got to be B there. Your third question. According to the passage, if you encounter a bear, what is the recommended behaviour to avoid provoking it? So, well, we just had a look at this, didn't we? So, remember, steadfastly, that was the wrong thing to do, because that would just make him angry. He'd think, why are you staring at me? You should throw or toss something. And it said, don't throw or toss even a tiny stick. Don't do that either. Didn't mention running. You should be courteous. Remember, we spoke about being kind, like a prince. Clear his way and avoid direct eye contact. Has to be D. We've seen that in the text, just in different English. Translate that into modern English, and you get the same thing there. Question 4. In the fourth paragraph, describe the location of the writer and Friday when they encounter the bear. The fourth paragraph. Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. So the location. Follow the distance for now being... Okay, so now being somewhere. We are somewhere. On the Gascony side of the mountains. Okay, so they're on the Gascony side of the mountains. We entered a vast forest where the country was plain and pretty open, though it had many trees. So, Gascony side of the mountains, vast forest, plain and pretty open, though it had scattered trees. Remember all of those things. So, on a mountain peak, didn't mention mountain peak, can't be that. Process of elimination, remember this method? Get rid of all the wrong answers first. On the other side of the Gascony mountains, no. It doesn't say the other side of, it says on the side of the Gascony mountains, so it can't be that one either. In a plain and pretty open field, maybe it does say that, don't get distracted. Just because the same words are repeated doesn't mean it's the right answer. Think about it. In a plain and pretty open field, but then it said, though there were scattered trees. So it's not as simple as C. What they were in, though, was a vast forest. There was no extra information for that one. It just said vast forest. Has to be D for number 4. Right, have a look at these questions. If you want to have a go at them before I explain them, please do. But let's have a look at them now. What was Friday's reaction when he first encountered the bear? Well, remember, he went, oh. Do you remember that? Do you remember that speech? He called out to it 3 times. Has to be D. What did Friday do before setting off to interact with the bear? Now, let's have a look. So he's going to go off to interact with the bear. Where is he? Here we go. Okay. You'll see it. So down he sits, gets off his boots in a moment, puts on a pair of pumps. There it is. That's what he does. Question 6. He wore pumps. He put some pumps on. Right. Has to be D. 7. Why did Friday throw a stone at the bear? Why did he throw a stone at the bear? Let's have a look. So, took a great stone, threw it at him. For the rogue was so void of fear, he did it purely. Okay, he did it purely. Okay, he did it. Why? To make the bear follow him, and to show us some laugh, as he called it. So, to make the bear follow him, show the author some laugh. Which one of these makes the most sense? Well, that's both of them. To make the bear follow and amuse the others. Has to be C. All the answers there, you just need to understand what it's saying. That's the challenge. You can find all of these. This is just search and locate. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's not difficult. You just need to understand the English, the language being used. Number 8. Why did the writer compare Friday hitting the bear with the stone to throwing it against the wall, stating it did him no harm? Well, what do we know about the bear? Think about the bear. Bears are insensitive to pain. Well, that's not true. Bears definitely feel pain. All animals feel pain. Friday used a tiny pebble. No. Wasn't a tiny pebble. Took up a great stone. That's not a pebble. Where are we? Down here. The stone fell to hit the bear. Definitely hit the bear. Process of elimination. The bear was a massive creature. Remember how it keeps saying monstrous. The bear is monstrous. It's a massive bear. Why was the writer angry with Friday? Now, we spoke about this at length. Friday brought the bear back on the writer. You remember that? He starts going, what are you doing? And they go to shoot the bear. This is it. If you've read it properly like I have now, you should remember all of this. It should all be in there. So, what was the writer's initial reaction to Friday climbing the tree? Remember, Friday climbs it first, and the bear goes up with him. So, I don't remember the writer saying he laughed. I don't remember the writer calling him brave. We defined a word, didn't we? Folly. What did folly mean? A foolish act. The writer thought it was a folly. It was foolish. Has to be C. Right. Have a look at these questions. Have a go at them. Otherwise, let's talk about them. If you haven't paused it, I'm going to go now. Which of these is the closest in meaning to affront? We defined affront. What did affront mean? It means to cause offence, an act of offence, offence, O-F-F-E-N-C-E, to offend, to insult, has to be C. With reference to the passage, what does the word monstrous most likely mean? Well, the monstrous bear, this huge bear that this massive stone does no damage to. It's massive. It's massive. Has to be A. Answer the following grammar questions. What type of words are these? Bear and bear, light and light, medal and medal. Well, an antonym is a word that means the opposite of another word, isn't it? I think that's what that means, yes. Let's skip homographs for now. Synonyms. A synonym is a word that means the same as another word. We should all know that. Excuse me. So a homograph and a homophone. Now, what are the difference between those two words? A homograph, this is just, I can only tell you this, there's no trick to this. This is all sort of, it comes from ancient Latin and ancient Greek. Excuse me. In fact, I know that homograph and homophone, both of them come from ancient Greek. Specifically, a homograph is words that are spelt the same, but, they don't necessarily sound the same. A homophone are words that aren't spelt the same necessarily, but they sound the same. A homophone. Phone, you see, phone, like telephone, to do with sound, to do with listening. Bear and bear, light and light, medal and medal, they sound the same to me. It's D, homophones. The bear soon came to the tree, and we followed at a distance. In the statement above, what part of speech is the word and? Now, if you've watched the other videos I've done for you, we did do one about, we've done a few actually about the different kinds of words that you might find in sentences and what they do. So, let's have a look at this. The bear soon came to the tree, we followed at a distance. Now, the bear soon came to the tree, we followed at a distance. Those are two clauses that work fine on their own, aren't they? But you put the and in there to connect them. Now, what kind of word is it where you get a word that connects two clauses together? You should know that. It's a conjunction. The answer there is conjunction. I hope talking through that comprehension has helped. The two main takeaways for me for that one are probably take your time to understand what a text is saying, and take your time to analyse context and be a good detective. See you next time.